All right, I wanted to do a little something on this whole coronavirus thing. I've been paying close attention to it, looking at the numbers over the last few weeks, checking it out. And this is the website that I normally go to here. What's it called? The worldometer.info, coronavirus. Gives a nice little table down here, all the data. You can see that the most number of right now we're sorted by the total cases. Most number of cases are in the United States, 550,000, versus the next closest is Spain with 166,000. Now, obviously, this is due to testing, right? The United States is doing the most testing of any country in the world. And so we're identifying the most cases of any country. So this number is really meaningless when compared to, how many cases have been identified in other countries. What matters is this column here, total deaths and new deaths, right? So you can see that the United States also has the most number of deaths of any country in the world attributed to the coronavirus versus Italy, which has, almost 20,000, about 1,000 less, but we've passed Italy now in the total number of deaths. And so, yeah, this thing is serious. It's certainly more serious than I had expected it to be, but it's still not as serious as some of the pundits, some of the YouTube talking heads like Thunderfoot, who's been getting a lot of video footage off of this. That guy started out by saying, we would top out at 20,000 deaths if we immediately took the quarantine seriously, which I can tell you this, the United States really hasn't taken the quarantine seriously. We don't have a quarantine. We have a bunch of optional stay-at-home orders that are mealy-mouthed, put out as demands by governors and stuff like that. But in general, they can't stop them. The Walmarts and the Lowe's and the Home Depots and the grocery stores, etc., are still packed with people. People are still going to their jobs. A lot of jobs are still classified as essential. And there's still, it certainly has impacted the economy a lot, but there's no quote unquote quarantine going on here, at least not that I'm aware of. They may be quarantining New York City. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not there, but that's where the worst of this is at. But what's really important to look at on this table, in my opinion, is this column here that says total number of cases per million population. So if you sort by that table, you can see that the United States is not even on the top of the list there. This is the total number of cases per 1 million population. If you sort all the way down and look all the way down, see that the USA is actually after Ireland and Montserrat, after France, Liechtenstein. How many down on the list are we there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. After Switzerland even, right? With your socialist healthcare system, the Isle of Man, Italy, Belgium, Channel Islands, Monaco, on and on and on. You finally get to the USA. So that's if you sort currently by total number of cases per 1 million population. And if you sort by deaths per 1 million population, again, you've got countries like France, the Netherlands, the UK, Switzerland, Sweden, Ireland, all have more deaths per 1 million population than the USA. Right? We're down here next to Bermuda. Okay, now not to say that we couldn't catch up, move up that list, but we're mid-April now, and by the stats, we are not the worse off of the nations, as people like Thunderfoot would would say, oh yeah, it was gloom and doom for the United States if you followed Thunderfoot early on, and he's done nothing but praise the Chinese, and looking at the Chinese data, it just doesn't make any sense. China isn't even reporting anything. You can't get any information from the Chinese out. They've got 3,300 total deaths, and evidently they haven't had a new death in weeks now. I'm not saying that they weren't able to quarantine and lock things down and all that, but how do we have all of these numbers everywhere else in the world and all these other countries, and the Chinese with 1.4 billion people, it hasn't impacted them at all. It's just barely a blip on the radar for those people. But Thunderfoot's like, oh yeah, the Chinese, socialist despotism, man, a socialist authoritarianism. Boy, that's the greatest thing since sliced bread. So it's still yet to be seen where we top out at. I originally had said, 5 to 10,000 deaths out of this. I've certainly adjusted my point of view on this, because I'm not making light of it all. It's a serious problem, but you got to also keep in mind, on a normal day in the United States, 7,500 people die of natural causes and otherwise. Right? So are these numbers, this 2,000, people per day that's dying in the United States now, is that in addition to the normal 7,500 people that die on a day-to-day basis, or how does that work exactly? I don't know. And I've heard, that they're attributing just every death that happens to somebody dying of corona. So, I don't know how reliable the numbers are. I mean, obviously it's high. We're at about 22,000 people in the United States now. The president has predicted if we did nothing, it'd be as high as 2.2 million, which is about half of what Thunderfoot said. Oh, it would be 5 million if we did nothing. That's what Thunderfoot said. The actual experts predicted 2.2 million if we did nothing. And now they're saying, between 100,000 and 200,000 people, and estimates as low as 90,000. So, yeah, I think when all's said and done, we could, months from now, be topping out at 100K people, months from now. Looks like right now we're hanging out at about 2,000 deaths per day, and it may be coming down. We'll see. It could be that it's just burned its way through the susceptible portion of the population at this point. But yeah, it's definitely doing a number on our economy. It sucks. So we've got to come up with a better plan in the future. But anyway, that's my update on this. I'm going to do an update, in a couple of weeks. We'll go back by and look at the numbers again and compare them to what Thunderfoot put out there when he was first starting out. He's revised his numbers so many times. His total death range has ranged between 1,000 people and 5 million people. He's got models, quote unquote models, that tell him, 1,000 people, best case, 5 million people, worst case. Yeah, I don't think we're going to ever get to the 5 million mark. That would be the point where, it'd be like in the medieval Black Plague, when the guys rolling the carts through the street saying, "Bring out your dead." Yeah, not going to happen. All right. Thanks for listening. Y'all have a good one.